In the mid-1980s, there was a widespread belief among both Indian and international observers that the Chinese authoritarian regime would mishandle its economy and that democratic India would ultimately surpass China in terms of size and development. However, the reality has turned out differently. As of today, India lags significantly behind China. In 1987, the nominal GDP of both nations was nearly equal. Fast forward to 2021, and China's GDP stands at 5.4 times that of India. China surpassed the $1 trillion GDP mark in 1998, while India reached this milestone 9 years later in 2007, based on exchange rates. What contributed to India's slower progress while China surged ahead? What propelled China's rapid development and immense economic growth, positioning it as the world's second-largest economy, making the United States trying hard to prevent China from taking the lead? Well, here's the answer: human capital and gender equality. Welcome back to another exciting episode of our channel. Innovation Diary brings you China's innovation stories, projects, and growing influence in different parts of the world. If you are new to the channel and enjoy learning about fast-paced modernity, especially China's development and growing power, you will find our videos intriguing. In this video, we'll discuss why, in contrast to China, India faces challenges on its path to becoming an economic superpower. Let's continue now. How China became an economic superpower. In March of 1985, the Wall Street Journal heaped its highest praise upon India's newly appointed Prime Minister, Rajiv Gandhi. A Columbia University economist, writing in the New York Times, proclaimed, "India, far more than China at present, possesses the potential for an economic miracle." The early 1980s marked a crucial juncture in history as both China and India, two of the world's most populous nations with nearly identical per capita incomes, initiated economic liberalization and opened up their economies. They both sparked expectations of revolution and miracle. However, while China experienced rapid growth, firmly rooted in human capital development, India fell short in this critical aspect of its development. China ascended to the status of an economic superpower, rendering projections of India as the next in line more a product of hype than reality. These disparities have deep historical roots. In 1981, the World Bank drew attention to the stark contrast between China and India. It noted that China boasted an exceptionally high life expectancy of 64 years, whereas India lagged behind at 51 years. Chinese citizens were reported to have better access to food than their Indian counterparts. Additionally, China offered nearly universal health care, and its citizens, including women, had higher rates of primary education. The World Bank report emphasized China's remarkable progress in gender equality during the Mao Zedong era. Enhanced educational access and increased female labor force participation led to reduced birth rates and improved child-rearing practices. Recognizing China's advancements in human capital development and the empowerment of women, the bank made an unusually bold prediction, stating that China would experience a significant increase in living standards within a generation or so. Throughout the history of the Industrial Revolution and beyond, every significant episode of economic advancement, primarily characterized by continuous productivity growth, has been linked to investments in human capital and increased participation of women in the workforce. While market liberalization undeniably played a crucial role in the growth of both China and India, China constructed its successful development strategy on the dual foundations of human capital development and gender equality, areas where India has notably fell behind. Invest in human capital and promote gender equality. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel for more videos about China's development, power, and influence on the world. Let's continue now. Even as China transitioned towards a more market-oriented economy, it made remarkable investments in its human capital, surpassing India in elevating education and health standards to levels essential for a globally competitive workforce. The World Bank's 2020 Human Capital Index, which gauges a nation's education and health outcomes on a scale from 0 to 1, awarded India a score of 0.49, ranking it below countries like Nepal and Kenya, despite being wealthier. In contrast, China achieved a score of 0.65, on par with more affluent nations like Chile and Slovakia. Although China's female labor force participation rate has declined to approximately 62%, from around 80% in 1990, India's rate has fallen even more sharply during the same period, dropping from 32% to about 25%. Particularly in urban areas, the prevalence of violence against women has deterred Indian women from entering the workforce. The combination of superior human capital development and greater gender equality has enabled China to achieve significantly higher total factor productivity growth, which serves as the most comprehensive measure of resource use efficiency. Assuming that both economies were equally productive in 1953, roughly when they embarked on their modernization endeavors, China increased its productivity by over 50% by the late 1980s. Today, China's productivity nearly doubles that of India. While 45% of Indian workers remain in the highly unproductive agricultural sector, China has evolved beyond basic labor-intensive manufacturing to establish dominance in global markets, particularly in the electric vehicle sector. China also exhibits better readiness for future opportunities. 7 Chinese universities have secured positions within the world's top 100, with Tsinghua and Peking ranking among the top 20. Tsinghua is globally recognized as the foremost institution for computer science, while Peking holds the 9th position. Moreover, China boasts 9 universities within the top 50 worldwide in mathematics. In stark contrast, no Indian university, including the renowned Indian Institutes of Technology, claims a spot among the world's top 100. Chinese scientists have made significant advances in increasing both the quantity and quality of their research, particularly in fields such as chemistry, engineering, and material science, positioning themselves to potentially lead in artificial intelligence. As portraited in this figure, Chinese researchers, spanning academia and industry, are rapidly generating high-quality patents. The crucial role of human capital, beyond population India, has often been considered a strong candidate to replace China as a global manufacturing hub due to its vast and youthful population, lower labor costs, and a relatively diverse range of industries. Furthermore, India maintains close ties with Western nations, some of whose business leaders are of Indian origin. Additionally, India is projected to become the world's most populous country, expected to reach 1.42 billion people by the end of this year. However, it's important to note that India's labor quality and infrastructure availability significantly lag behind China's. While many see India's lower labor costs as a competitive advantage compared to China, the question arises: what good are low labor costs if the overall benefits are relatively low as well? Despite India's commendable developmental progress over the past few decades, its capacity building has not kept pace with China's. India's rate of child stunting is comparable to China's more than 2 decades ago. Its life expectancy growth lags behind China by 25 years, and its adult literacy rate trails behind by roughly 3 decades. Moreover, India's governmental capacity is less robust than China's, and many Indians living in slums experience a lifetime without government records. Consequently, India's labor capability deficit is likely more severe than official data indicate. These factors affect the efficiency of workers on factory floors and their prospects for long-term career growth in the manufacturing sector. In essence, low labor costs may not be sufficient to compensate for these shortcomings. In fact, if India fails to address these capability deficits effectively, its growing population could potentially undermine social stability. Despite the Modi administration's efforts thus far, China has an advantage because it has invested in its people and treated men and women more equally. It's in a good position for both old and new economic opportunities. On the other hand, India's leaders and others often talk about their ability to quickly catch up using modern technology and infrastructure, without considering their basic human resources. China has a clear plan to deal with its challenges, but India might get stuck in unrealistic optimism and make wrong choices. Despite its strengths, including a youthful population and support from Western nations, it appears unlikely that India will be able to supplant China in the global manufacturing supply chain or attain economic superpower status in the foreseeable future. We would like to take a moment here and appreciate you all for commenting and sharing your opinions. Your insights always impress us. Do you agree that in order for India to grow, develop, and become a superpower like China, it needs to look into the fundamentals of human capital and promote gender equality? Tell us what you think and leave your comments below. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to get exclusive videos about how phenomenally China is developing and growing its influence over the world. Until the next video, stay tuned.